said, Chrissy, wake up. I don't like this. Chrissy, wake up. But they made it into a song. Chrissy, wake up.
Yeah, like an emo song.
But they took his voice and like what he did and they just like pitch toned it or whatever.
Reminds me of, 'cause tonight will be the night that I will fall for you over again. Don't let me change my mind.
Hello and welcome to the Hardly Working Podcast, the show about life, love, and labor, hosted by the couple that works, plays, and stays together. I'm Kelly.
And I'm SP, and congratulations to our two lucky winners of our Instagram giveaway. Let me tell you exactly who they are. I actually don't know, because at time of recording, it is still open to enter. But by the time you're watching this, we will have announced it on our Instagram. That's how we're doing it, right?
Yes.
Winners will find out on Instagram.
Find out on Instagram, so check us out there. We'll tag you if you've won. We'll also send you a DM from us letting you know that you won, asking for details of how we can get that $100 to you.
That's right. $100, $50 to Amazon, $50 to Target, going to two different people, $100 each. Pretty fun, pretty cool. Let's do it again sometime.
Yeah.
Let's do it for season 20.
Or episode 100.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Maybe we'll give away $400 then. Who knows?
Who knows? For episode 100, we're giving away 400. We'll work it out. We'll talk about this off air. Before we get into the weeks, I think we need a little Game of Thrones update.
Oh, yeah. Guys, there's no spoilers. I mean, it's all spoilers, but let's be real. If you haven't watched it, where you've been? Where are you at?
Where have been you?
I just finished watching season 7, episode 1 of Game of Thrones. So that's how much free time I have.
Which is crazy when we'll talk about what your week has looked like.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's
true.
Not a free week.
No, but I did. And it's so good. We just found out that Jon Snow died and came back to life. We found out that he's actually a Targaryen, which is insane. And he is not Ned Stark's daughter, but he's Lyanna's daughter.
Oh boy, hold on.
There's
Just
a ton
if
of
you were
information.
interested in this show,
It's
skip
so-
forward like 60 seconds.
I said spoilers.
Yes, but I didn't realize how spoilery we were getting.
But it's good because Daenerys is finally in Westeros. Cersei, that evil B word. I don't know what I can and can't say.
You can say whatever you want. It's your show.
Evil bitch is queen. She just blew up the sept and everyone in it. And her own son took his life because his wife died because she killed her. There's a lot.
It's a lot
There's
happening.
a lot going on. It's everything I've wanted. I'm so excited.
I'm
2
happy for
seasons
you.
left. Wish me the best of luck because I don't know what I'll do when it's over.
Me either. Probably just quit.
Watch House of the Dragon.
Yes. I can speak for everyone who's never watched Game of Thrones that everything you just said sounds
Means
like
nothing.
complete nonsense. Cersei, Westeros, Jon
Oh,
Snow,
you know, you've seen some of it.
Targaryen, all of this sounds like nonsense. But I've never met someone who is able to consume so much television in such a short amount of time. Remember the first season? You were
I
like,
do.
I don't really watch that much television. You're 7 seasons
It was
in.
so good. I feel
it's
like this
been
is-
1 week.
But I feel like this is the way. I was just talking to my friend Lindsay about this. I was like, I feel like this is the way that it should have been watched. Like, I don't understand how those of you that saw Game of Thrones and watched it as it was airing were able to follow along and keep track of all the things that were happening. It's hard enough as it is right now to keep track of that. And I'm watching it back to back.
Yeah.
So like there's no space in between for me to like forget. I understand there's a recap at the beginning of every episode as well, but like it's a lot of weird names, a lot of weird cities, a lot of like different people that you're following and moving parts. Ed Sheeran just showed up in it. I mean, there's so much.
Babe, spoilers.
I know. I just don't know how you guys did it. Because this is the way to do it, to watch it as if it's like the 8 Harry Potter movies just all in a row.
And like 10 hours of movie every
season.
one.
It's great.
That's nuts. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. I've watched exactly 1 episode.
And you didn't like it.
The pilot. Oh, I could tell. I was like, this is going to be too much for me to
You've-
understand and remember.
You've watched some of it with me.
Well, how could anyone not watch some of it with you? It's on every device in our home.
All the time, making dinner. That's about it. And
That's
then
about it.
in the living room. But
Well, now that we've brought you up to speed on cutting edge pop culture like Game of Thrones from 2010.
and if there's any other shows that you think we should watch that you say are like really, really good, you should let us know. Because I'll
shows
watch
that
it.
you've missed, like Game of Thrones?
Yeah, like I didn't watch Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I know Shogun is on our list of possibilities.
We finished Avatar as well recently.
Yeah.
So if there's any
one.
shows that you think we should watch or I should watch that I would like, please suggest them.
She's got time.
Yeah, but I mean, if not, I'll just watch Bones for the 60 millionth time.
That's probably what we'll do anyway.
Until Bridgerton comes out.
Well, you had a lot of time to watch television somehow. I don't know when you snuck it in because you were so busy this week.
Yeah.
We talked about it a little bit last week, but now we've actually had the experience of first going to the Academy Museum. Shout out to Ashley May. Thank you so much for the invite.
Oh, it was fun.
For the Oscars, which was an absolute blast.
Yeah, I had a lot of Shake Shack.
That's true. They were walking around with Shake Shack, which was awesome. Had some cool activations. They had the Oscars playing in their movie theater.
Yeah, which is where we watched it. It was really fun. Comfortable seats, too. The Academy has, like, very comfortable seats.
That's true. It's a nice, brand new theater, too.
Yeah, but
it's not like reclining seats.
No, but it is like the, if you've never been, they have, like, the old school, like, movie theater seats. Like, not the recliner ones, but the other ones, but they're really comfortable.
Yeah, they're nice.
Yeah. So it was fun. It was great to watch it. Congratulations to all the Oscar winners.
Yeah, I don't think I have anything to say about the Oscar winners and losers and all that stuff, except I think it'd be a great podcast to listen to everyone's acceptance speech that didn't win.
Yeah.
Like, here's what I would have said. That's what I think we should do. But so we had to run from that a little bit early because you had an Oscars event for Bumble.
I did.
I
have an Oscars after party that we were doing for Bumble. For I can say it now. I posted for Neon, the movie production company, which is really cool. And I got to see the Golden Guy up close.
They won some Oscars.
Yeah, they did. They won some Oscars for Anatomy of the Fall.
And they brought him to the party.
And they brought him to the party
in the booth.
for best screenplay. It was so fun. We also had the who won the Oscar for the Godzilla movie? They won an Oscar for
the visual effects team.
Yeah, I
don't know any of their names, but
they were also there as well at the Oscar party, which was really fun. So it was a really fun event. A lot of people coming in, a lot of talent. I won't say her name on here because I don't think that that's necessarily fair, but I did meet somebody pretty high up in SAG and AFTRA who was like, I want to hire you for our event. So that was pretty cool.
I'm finally getting my own show.
I am a member of SAG and AFTRA, which I thought was cool to like meet someone in that because I really don't do anything with that anymore, even though I probably should. But yeah, so it was cool. I need to email her.
Yeah. Let's do that together.
Perfect.
I can't wait.
Anyway, so that was my first event.
That was Sunday.
It was Sunday night and a late night, a fun night, a good night. Come to the next day, Monday. I was at the world premiere screening of Little Wing, which is a new movie on Paramount Plus. Sorry, I'm like,
coughing it out.
Gotta clear my throat. Sorry, everyone out there. That was really fun too. We did our photos in motion, which was a big hit, really cool. At the London and West Hollywood. So it was just a fun, exciting couple of days of doing stuff in the industry, which is kind of where I want to be on that entertainment side of stuff, less with weddings, although I'll do weddings.
But more with corporate and world premieres.
So that was really cool. Yeah, that was an exciting thing. So I got to do my first world premiere. And then you also did.
No relation to me.
Yeah, and then you also did a world premiere.
That's right. And if you're watching at home, you can see I'm wearing this t-shirt from the event for X-Men 97. If you grew up in the 90s and you watched the X-Men cartoon, this is I'm not sure what they're calling it, the spiritual sequel and successor or whatever it is. We had a blast. We filled the El Capitan Theater and we showed not one, not two, but 3 episodes from the new.
Are they short?
I think they're 22-minute episodes.
That makes sense, yeah.
I didn't stick around to watch them because I wanted to hang with you and B.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'll watch them when they come out on Disney Plus. But it was very fun. I got to DJ, do a little bit of hosting, but mostly DJ. And it was a fun. What's that?
And you get to hang with Ramona.
The best part, always hanging with Ramona and Michelle.
Yeah.
But getting to do put together a set that was, since this was X-Men 97, very 90s vibey and feely. So it was old electronic music. It was Daft Punk's older stuff. It was Beck. It was all sorts of songs I would never normally play. Sandstorm by Darude, like all of these songs that were so iconic in the late 90s.
Yeah.
That totally worked.
I'm sure.
And it was a blast. Got so much good feedback from my friends over at Disney, which made me feel amazing. But yeah, check it out on Disney Plus, X-Men 97. If you were a fan of the original, you're gonna love it. I think that's all we did this week.
Yeah, I have another event.
Seems like a lot.
I have another event coming up tomorrow.
Yes, you've
in a
got
couple of days. So
tomorrow. Yeah.
yeah, so
right.
it's a busy week for me in terms that I had 3 events in 1 week, which is a lot.
Yeah. Yep. And next week is not any slower,
No,
but
'cause
we'll
next
talk
week-
about that later.
Oh, okay.
You can do it.
I was like, because next week we go on a plane, fly to Utah to see our friends, DB Productions, and you're hosting a conference. And then from there, you fly to Puerto Rico, and I go to Knoxville to have fun with my friends.
I actually fly back to Los Angeles
Yeah.
for like 8 hours and then fly all the way over to Puerto Rico.
And I just go to Knoxville, Tennessee.
Yep. So more
Andy
on
Hannah,
that.
I'm coming for you.
More on that later when we describe all of our fun travel trips. But first, you want to get into the stories proper or the show proper, starting with stories?
Yes.
Alrighty. Let's jump in. I have a couple different stories today. The first one is a short one, but it has so much to do with the things that you love that I wanted to put it in anyway. You ready?
Yeah, I'm just cold. I'm sorry.
It's okay. It's getting cold in LA.
Ooh.
It is Goodwill lists this rare gold Lego piece for $14.95, and it sells for $18,000.
From Goodwill, like someone bought it.
Yes.
Dang.
So here's the Lego piece.
Dang.
It is a 24 karat gold.
It's real gold.
Yes. So I shall read. A Goodwill in Pennsylvania just sold a 14 karat gold Lego piece for $18,101. I'm sure I'm going to say this wrong. It's from their Lego Bionicle series, and it's called the Kahoni Hua mask. I don't know.
Good attempt. I don't know.
Thank you. So they only made 30 of these as a giveaway, and they, like, you know, I don't know, enter a competition, you might win this gold Lego piece or whatever.
Yeah.
So they sent out 25 of them to the winners, and then 5 stayed with the people that worked on it or something like that.
Yeah.
So this got donated with some other jewelry to a Goodwill, and I guess sometimes Goodwills will auction things online.
Okay.
And so they listed it on eBay, I think eBay for like $15. And they were like, we knew something was up when people started messaging us and saying, I'll pay you $1,000 for it.
Yeah.
They're like, what is going on? What
Yeah.
do we have here? So they listed it again, and after about 40 bids, it got past $18,000.
That's crazy.
So it is now the most expensive Lego piece to ever be sold.
Makes sense.
The second closest one was in 2020, and it was a 14 karat solid gold Lego brick that went for $15,000.
Dang.
So check your kids' Lego drawers before you just donate them.
I know.
If you find a mass like this, you may be walking away with basically a car.
Yeah. That's
$18,000.
Yeah.
So
Dang.
check your Lego stuff.
I don't have any gold Legos.
Yeah, you weren't building and collecting in 2000 when this
No.
came out. Anyway, so that's the first one. Here's a weird one. Homeowner baffled after washing machine uses 3.6 gigs of internet data in a day.
A washing machine?
Yes, a normal washing machine, a LG washing machine is using 3.6 gigs
Is
of
that
data.
a lot?
Yes. Well, think about it this way. So we have unlimited data on our phones, right? So we're not thinking about it too much, but some
Yeah.
people get 20 or 30 gigs in a month.
That's true. Okay.
When
Yeah.
we go like to Europe or something and
It's
we
like
have a
5
plan,
gigs,
we
huh?
get 5 gigs for, I think, a
The
week or something.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's a lot a day.
Yeah, for a day. They described it as the same as an hour's worth of high definition video streaming, which I was like, ooh, that doesn't sound like a lot. Like I'm probably using a lot of gigs, but it doesn't really matter. Here's what it says.
I was like, how did it do that? What happened?
So there's nothing crazily definitive on it. It's not like it was streaming Netflix or whatever. But
Secretly, it was watching it.
exactly. But it does have a couple different things here. So in a post with more than 7 million views, Johnny Lee shared a screenshot of his washing machine's data usage, which showed 3.6 gigs of daily data usage. For context, 3 gigs is the rough equivalent to streaming high-definition video for an hour. It was an LG washer, and an LG person was like, we don't know, but we'll look into it. So the guy essentially was like, and he's a techier guy. He was like, my internet started slowing down, and I wasn't sure what was happening.
Yeah.
So I checked to see like what was being used, and of course he found out the washer was doing that.
So weird.
One of the reasons, though, that I think this is interesting and could be negative is a lot of companies are saying, like, you have unlimited data, But what they're really saying is like you get unlimited data up to 5 gigs. And then once you're past 5 gigs, we throttle or slow down your internet for the remaining things.
Yeah.
So if your washing machine is taking all the good data and then you can't stream Netflix or whatever because,
because it's
your
just like
washing machine. Yeah. So I think that could be one of the big problems. What was interesting towards the end of this article is it started saying, let's see if I can find it here. Ah, got it. Or do I?
I don't know.
Here we go. I've got it right here.
Okay.
So this was what was scary. And first of all, I don't know why people need internet in their like.
Yeah. I was like, does it connect to your phone? Is that why you need it? And so like it's using off your phone. Like, okay.
Well, so that's the thing is in the article, it says like the washing machine touts internet access so you can monitor your washing cycles and communicate. I was like, how much monitoring do you need to do from your phone?
Isn't that just an app though?
Essentially,
like our
I guess,
Ring doorbell doesn't take.
Maybe it does. We'd have to look.
Yeah.
But I was like, that's not a huge, great reason for, having Wi-Fi on there. Yeah. Like, or on your fridge or whatever. But this was what was interesting.
And wouldn't that be Bluetooth versus Wi-Fi? Anyways, okay.
Well, dude, there's another thing I saw. I'll tell you about that later. Target and Bluetooth and targeted ads. This world.
Let me see.
In September 2023, the UK-based consumer awareness publication, Which, reported the results of a study into our data and smart device use and collection. Results found that smart washing machines are collecting a significant amount of user data. So I know.
What's the user data? Like how often you open up your washing machine?
Yeah, some things were dumb. Like, so here's what it says, including personal information such as date of birth. Not sure why you'd put that on your washer. Whatever. Location. Duh.
Yeah.
Like that makes sense. But then it says, and even access to photos.
No.
I was like, look, I know that at any given moment, like any Wi-Fi router or network is connected to a ton of different devices. But does everything need access to our photos? Does everything need access to?
What are you going to start cycling photos on top of our washing machine? It's like, what's in your wash? I've detected that this pants from this picture is in there. Like,
remember when you wore this?
Yeah. Like what? Okay. So weird.
Yeah. So I did think that was very, very odd. And I just don't understand the justification of it. But to use almost 4 gigs of data, I don't know what 4 times 30 is. 120.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nailed it. Gigs of data.
And you wonder why our kid is bad at math. I'm just kidding.
I did it right. Anyway, so check your smart devices to make sure they're not sucking up all your internet.
Because they might be. And by smart devices, we mean microwaves, ovens, dishwashers, washing machines.
Your devices from Amazon that sometimes if I say the word, it triggers stuff.
Also known as an Echo.
Yeah.
You can call it Echo or the other name.
Yeah, but also some people change it from the other name to that word.
I know. Well, good luck. Echo. Play. Just kidding.
Hardly working. Anyway, check your devices because they could be sucking up all your bandwidth. This was interesting too. Speaking of the internet and actually, we'll get to it later. I want to talk about the TikTok stuff that's happening a little bit with the TikTok ban, but we'll get that. I have an unpopular opinion that I think might dovetail into that a little bit better later. Okay. So you got time for one more story?
Yeah, and then I have a quick story for you.
You have a story?
Said TikTok, yeah.
Well, hit me with your story. I'm ready for a story.
Oh, you said TikTok, and I was like, I just saw a very interesting story on TikTok.
Yeah.
Because that's who I am, crazy person who goes down rabbit holes and begins to watch the whole thing because I want to see it all play out. There was a high-speed chase that occurred in Florida or Minnesota, something like that.
No accent for Florida.
No.
Just for Minnesota.
Florida or Minnesota. I don't know what Floridians sound like.
Just like that.
Other than normal. But there was a high-speed chase where this guy on a motorcycle, him and his female passenger, he ran a red light because there was a cop there, and then the cops chased him, and he kept going. And he got speeds up to like 120 miles per hour or something like that on his motorcycle while he was being chased down. They finally were able to like barricade him so that he could. I was going to say, like,
how does a cop car even keep up with a motorcycle going 120 miles an hour?
Well, you have cop cars ahead that then like pull over. So like the chief of police is actually the one who got him. Got him.
Booked him, Dano.
Yeah. So they take the guy off of the motorcycle, obviously, and they put him under arrest and into the car. And then the female passenger, they put her in handcuffs, and she's hyperventilating and having such a terrible like experience and like can't breathe and is crying. And they're like, are you okay? And they're like, how do you know this guy? Like, are you aware that you broke the law or whatever? And they were like, how do you know this guy? And her response, I kid you not, was, this is the first time I've met him. He's my Tinder date.
Oh my
So this
gosh.
poor lady who had like swiped right? Is that what it is? Or swipe left? I don't know what it is. Swiped the right way for this person. Had like one conversation with them the day before over Tinder. And then they went out for a date. He was like, yeah, I'm going to run from the cops with you on the back. And this poor girl, like, total like breakdown, needed to have her vape pen to like calm her down. She's like hyperventilating in the back of the car, all because she chose the wrong Tinder dates. And the police officers were the most hysterical part of this, because they were like, maybe you'll think twice about who you swipe right or whatever on Tinder. I was like,
a real after school special moment.
I was like, all right.
Like, I think that chick probably learned her lesson.
I think so too.
Didn't need it laid out.
It was just so funny because the police officers were like, maybe you think twice about the next person you go out.
Oh
I was
my
like,
gosh, dating's scary. I would love to do a series on Hardly Working Through It called like Tales from Tinder or Tales from the dating apps or something like that.
Yeah,
Because I know there's so many stories.
When I was looking up that story, because I was trying to, because I watched it, but I was like, let me see if I can find the news article for it. I couldn't find it, but I did find a bunch of other things about like Tinder date gone wrong. Like Tinder date led to like theft or something, or led to home invasion. So, like led to all this stuff. I was like, I don't know that I want to be on dating apps if that's like what's happening.
Oh
so.
my gosh. Well, thankfully you don't have to be if you don't want to be. I think things are going pretty good with us.
Pretty good for now.
We're pretty good until we do our own research and we download them.
Just kidding. No.
And Kelly's like, I'm swiping left and right, and I don't know which way does what.
I don't know which way is what. I have no idea.
I would seriously love that though. So I've seen and heard horror stories, and I think it'd be fun to talk about the ones worth talking about. Send us your fun stories, not your like, I've been in therapy forever. Like this poor woman is gonna have
She's never gonna be on Tinder again. Yeah.
No. Well, not even that. She'll never certainly be on a motorcycle again. Like,
yeah, I think she had her fun.
She's gonna have to vet.
Who else can say they went
boyfriends.
120 miles per hour on a motorcycle and lived?
Can I also? That's true. Can I also say this about online dating? I know not of which I speak.
Yeah.
But guys, it's the internet. It's just not that hard to do a light cursory Google check.
Because he had been in jail for this before, just for the record. He's been under arrest. Yeah. Oh, and they also, the cops also were asking her, like, when you were on the back of the motorcycle going that fast, were you asking him to stop?
Oh.
She was like,
excuse me, sir.
Yes.
I'd like us to stop.
I was crying and I was telling him to stop and to slow down. I was like, I get that you have to.
Stupid question.
I get that you have to ask those questions because you're trying to determine if she's telling you the truth or not. I totally get it. But I was like, what rudimentary questions are we at? Did you ask him to stop when he was going 120 miles per hour when you feared for your life? Or were you like, no, keep going?
This is great.
Like,
oh, so stupid.
What?
What was I talking about before that?
Sorry.
Oh, yeah. Vetting your people.
Yeah. Do a cursory search. Guys.
You can reverse image search someone.
Yeah. You can just look up that person's name.
Yeah. And let me tell you, one of the most handy things you can do is look up a person's name, and you can put in lawsuit, court, or just the person's name. And if they are being incarcerated in a lawsuit, whatever,
it'll tell you.
It's public record. So it's not that hard to be a little bit smarter, because you just never know whose motorcycle you're getting on the back of. I'm just saying. Anyway, the other thing I wanted to say about that was I've heard a lot of stories, and I think it'd be really fun. And hopefully this season of Hardly Working, we can get some of those stories and talk about them.
Yeah, about what? Also, dating?
Stories like you just explained, like
I'll look up stories.
Tinder
dates
I guess
bad.
It's not just Tinder. It's, dating app.
Dating app fails.
It's not fails. It's like, it's not success story, horror stories.
No, I mean, kind of is horror stories. Some of them can be.
I just don't want to know the real horror stories. Like, don't send me the torture ones. I'm fragile.
Save that for Criminal Minds.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
Which there's got to be a whole season of Criminal Minds coming up that's just dating app specific.
I'm sure there's already some of that
There's got to
stuff.
be. But here's the other thing is that for some reason, when I'm putting the show together and I'm looking up news and stuff, other things that pop up are things like people like Uber Eats, Lyft, I guess the other ones, Ubers and Postmates and all that kind of stuff. But it's usually stories from delivery drivers or Uber drivers about their nightmare passenger stories.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Boy, like there's probably more of those. Statistically speaking, more
Oh,
people
yeah.
get in an Uber than they get on a date with somebody.
Oh,
and
yeah.
so we might be sprinkling in some of those horror stories.
For sure. Most of those are like, got in the car, the person in the car canceled the ride and then alerted me on my phone. And I'm like, the Uber driver was like, get out of my car. And they're like, I'm not going to get out of your car. Like I paid for the
there's a lot of
thing.
that, yeah.
And they're like, no, you didn't. You canceled the ride. You can like recall for it, but I'm not going to keep driving you. As if they think that it won't alert the Uber driver that the ride was canceled.
Oh, yeah, because they're trying to get like a free ride or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of sketchy things that happen there. Anyway, lots to talk about in future working through. It's between dating app fails and Postmates fails. There's some of my favorites are like they'll send a photo of like the front porch and they're like, would you deliver to this place? Because it looks haunted or whatever. And I'm like, it is a little risque every time you're walking up to some stranger's house.
Yeah, just leave it there.
Not what I'd want to do. I think we got time for one more story. You want to do one more?
Sure.
And we'll get into some unpop pins.
Gross.
All right, last story. Bakery accused of reselling Dunkin' Donuts as its own vegan, gluten-free treats.
Nobody wants that.
Gluten-free and vegan treats?
Dunkin' Donuts.
I take Dunkin' Donuts before a gluten-free vegan donut.
But does Dunkin' Donuts, okay, I'm sure you're going to tell me the story, but I'm like, does Dunkin' Donuts even serve vegan-free?
No.
Vegan-free, vegan?
No.
Donut.
In fact, that's in the article
Okay,
here.
let
It's
me hear
like,
it.
while Dunkin' didn't actually respond for an interview on here, they said like, at the very least, all of our stuff includes egg, wheat, and milk, like making it not gluten-free nor dairy-free.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, there's this woman in Long Island, I believe. New York's Division of Food Safety and Inspection is conducting a full investigation. A gluten-gation. Nope, we'll workshop that.
I was like, whatever you're going to say, I don't know that it's going to work.
Anyway, a full investigation into the accusations that a baker resold donuts from Dunkin'
Say
under
that
the
word again.
guise. Which one? Okay, I'll read the whole thing. Accusations? Is it that one?
Yeah.
How do you say it?
Accusations.
Accusations.
Accusations is how you say it. Accusations. Now it all just sounds wrong, but the way you say it is definitely weird.
Fork.
Accusations. You tell me, accusation or
I also say clothes weird.
Yeah, clothes.
Because otherwise it's like to close a door.
No,
like,
I'm putting on my clothes right now.
Yeah.
You know what I
Hey, don't
We gotta go fold our clothes.
accuse me of being okay. An accusation that a baker resold donuts from Dunkin' under the guise that they were vegan and gluten-free treats that she made herself.
Did she purchase the donuts or did she dumpster dive or did she how did she get
Jury's still out on how she got the donuts. I assume she walked into a Dunkin' and bought them. But anyway, so this woman, Cindy Snacks, who is not the person who's selling them.
What a great name.
She's the person who's eating them.
Cindy Snacks.
And also apparently reselling them, but I don't really know how that all happened.
Okay.
The place that is being accused, this is such a trendy name, and I was like, I believe it. It's called the Savory Fig.
Okay.
Isn't that such like a
savory fig.
I'm just like all of these new like restaurant names. You know, you hear a name like this and you're like, you'll be around for like 18 months. Mm-hmm. At least in LA, like those things come and they go so freaking fast. Anyway, so Cindy Snacks, I guess she owns a vegan market in Long Island, posted the accusation on Instagram against the Savory Fig, a Long Island vegan bakery owned by this woman, Michelle Suriani. So she buys stuff from the Savory Pig and sells it to her customers and whatever at her restaurant or whatever it is. So here's what it says. I won't read the whole thing because it's a long one. So the Savory Fig dropped off baked goods that they ordered, including donuts. In the middle of the box was the donut pictured in the first slide, which, for those of you looking, was a pretty...
Aren't those D's for Dunkin'?
Yeah, that's part of the problem.
And they're pink
in the Dunkin' colors.
Yeah, pink and orange. Okay.
Pink and orange.
Okay.
That's what they said. They're like, the logo looked familiar. Anyway, it said, I raised my concerns. Oh, I'm sorry. I skipped a little bit. First in the slideshow is a donut with pink frosting dotted with magenta and orange D-shaped sprinkles. They became concerned when they noticed that the sprinkles bear an uncanny resemblance to Dunkin's and that the donut looked different than the rest of the order. He says, the person here, he removed the donuts from sale before contacting the person that they bought it from, yada, yada, yada. They claim that the sprinkles they used were found, they found out that those sprinkles, they tested them, are not vegan and they're not dairy-free and they don't match the donuts that were in the picture. And so they got an at-home gluten test, which came back and it said, came back as high positive for gluten.
Course.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course. Then they said, we can only assume, given the recognizable logo design, where these donuts really came from, but who knows what other ingredients might be in there. It goes on, but essentially, I've definitely known many people in my life who have gluten intolerances, but also
celiac disease,
which is not something to be messed around with.
Yeah.
And so if you're telling people that this is like
it's
free of these things,
Yeah.
like it does say on here at some point, they're like, one commenter said, like, I have celiac disease, and if I ate this, I would die. Like,
Yeah.
I would literally die. So as silly as it sounded that like the New York health inspectors and stuff are going to get in on this and figure it out.
Because people can,
Well, it's a food safety issue too, and a public safety. And health
it's
issue.
like if someone's allergic to nuts, peanuts, and they're like, it's peanut free, and they eat it and they
die from
die. It's
having
like
an
the
allergic
same
reaction.
idea. Was there only one donut in there and it was just that one? Or
That's
what?
the only thing that it wasn't one donut in the whole package, but that was the one that seemed to stand out. That one with the Dunkin' D's on it.
So weird. I'm like, did they put it in there on accident?
I don't think so. I have a feeling that maybe they ran out of product, because restaurants will do this. They're like, we're out of whatever.
So let's
run
just
up
go
to the
get-
store.
Yeah, but out of all the ones to pick, you were like, this one's good.
But that's assuming that like the owner went to go get the donut rather than like, hey, run up the street and get a donut like for this order, or get a bunch of donuts and pack them in because we're out of donuts.
Yeah, get some vegan donuts. They're like, yeah. Vegan, gluten-free.
I thought you said Dunkin'.
No, yeah. My bad.
My bad.
Yeah.
My bad. Anyway, what a weird week of stories.
So weird.
You ready to jump into some unpopular opinions?
Yes.
Do you have any of those too?
Nor.
No.
Nor.
All right. Well, let me get into the one that I was talking about earlier that jogged your memory with TikTok.
Okay.
Here's the first one. In a couple of years, we're going to see a lot of, quote, influencers going into starter level jobs. Here's the context for this. There's a lot of influencers, I've looked into that don't care about what happens when their careers end, which they will most likely only have for about 5 years. I think in about 10 to 20 years, we'll see a lot of these people getting starter level jobs. The reason I wanted to bring this up is not only because I think it's probably true,
But because of the TikTok ban.
yeah, so the TikTok ban, if you're on TikTok at all, it's impossible to not have seen what's going on. House of Representatives passed a bill that would essentially ban TikTok if it wasn't sold by its company within the next 6 months. Everybody's freaking out about it. I'm not freaked out about it because the likelihood of that happening, I think, is pretty minimal. At the same time, I will be honest, I know this is the fun show, but it's so frustrating for me that the elected officials we put into place cannot do anything. They can't agree on anything. They can't solve healthcare problems, homeless problems, housing crisis,
Gun problems, gun
violence, the cost of living, cost of grocery. There's nothing that they can come together and solve except for like, let's ban the one easy thing that the American people seem to enjoy the most, the free thing on their phone that gives them a little joy. They can all agree on that. And I'm not here to, have someone argue with me about what China's doing with our data or anything like that.
Yeah.
I understand that there's a reason why they'd want to do that, but it's frustrating. That's my little soapbox. The reason I bring it up, though, is that some people have truly built their entire business
off of that
on that platform. Yeah. Which boils down to the idea of don't build your business on rented land, because then if someone like TikTok's like, we're not here anymore, you're done. Always build your email list or your text list if you're doing that. That way, if a platform goes away, you can still contact people. Think about Vine. When Vine went away, there was people with millions of followers that just went over to Instagram or eventually TikTok or Snapchat or YouTube. Did not take their entire audience, because those people, followed or subscribed at one point, but it doesn't mean they're going to make the jump to the next one.
Yeah.
And you don't have, if that platform goes away like Vine did, you don't have any way to reach out to them again. They got to go find you. And with the attention span of at least the American people right now, no one's going to search you out very, very hard before they're like, I'll move on to something else.
Yeah, it has been very interesting to watch. I know, like you said, we're supposed to be answering the question. I think the question is right, that they will be finding new jobs. But I think it's interesting to watch because I do follow some influencers on there, and there's a couple, who have been, obviously it's a game changer. I've watched someone go from taking photos, wanting to like be more confident in herself and taking like self-portraits in her house, to like walking or being at Paris Fashion Week. Like that's the jump that she's made. And she literally posted and she was like, I didn't know what to do with all of this. Like, it's weird to think that I might not be able to come on here and like be able to put myself out there in this way. And she's like, I'm just so grateful that you guys have accepted me as who I am. You've given me so much confidence in myself. You've helped me grow to be the person that I am. But like, this is the place that I've documented everything. I documented my move to California. I documented my breakup. On here is like when I moved into my first place and my second place, when I went to Paris for the first, like all of these big life moments are on this app. And I've shared them here, like what happens when it goes away. And I know that people can like save their videos and do all that stuff, but it's the same idea with Instagram too. It's like, yeah, it's kind of our life in pictures. Like you post at different times. And if you want to walk down memory lane, you kind of can scroll through and be like, oh, wow, look at that.
Yeah. And that's the beauty of the services too. And I throw YouTube in on that as well, is that like, for instance, this show is usually about 150 gigs per episode. Mm-hmm. It's like 10 washing machines worth of episode data.
Yeah. 10 washing machines versus episode data. They're all in here lining the walls.
Anyway, but most of us don't have computers or hard drives that will hold a significant amount of data. Like you might have a terabyte of storage on your computer.
Yeah.
Are you going to store every memory and trip on there? Or are you going to put it up on YouTube or TikTok and delete it off your computer to have space to let that be something other than just a time capsule? And that's what a lot of people do. That's what we do, even with Brooklyn Show. Like it's on YouTube. Not that anyone can see it except for us. But for us, I guess we should reassess this. It feels like that's safe up there because it'll always be there. But if YouTube goes away, same thing. Like that's gone too. Anyway, I do think it's tricky. The truly millions of small businesses and entrepreneurs and stuff that will lose their income, especially right now where just about everybody has and or needs a side hustle. Like everybody is like, how can I make more money in order to be more comfortable, happy, survive, pay my mortgage, my rent, whatever it is, to eliminate such a huge platform for that. It's kind of like taking Etsy away.
Yeah. I was going to say that too, is that I look how many people I follow that you don't even know. There's another girl that I follow, like, and she has a whole story. She lost her mom. She took her 8-year-old sister in as her daughter. It was a lot of stuff, but she lives somewhere where it snows. I can't remember where.
Ew, who knows? Who cares? If it's snowing, barf.
But just this January, like all the roads were closed, all the schools were closed, all businesses were closed. And she took to TikTok and was like, I'm still shipping out my cookies or whatever, like you can purchase for me. Or if you want to donate, you can buy a cookie and I'll go give a cookie in my community. And she sold thousands of cookies that way. And that's how she was able to like pay her mortgage and like make enough money to pay her employees that month because she took to TikTok and people know her and follow her and like are invested in her and was like, yeah, we're going to give back to your community or we're going to buy cookies and ship them to me. Like there's just something you lose and you miss out when you take that away. I understand that there's some other like annoying stuff on TikTok. I totally get that, but there's a lot of good that's happening there too. In terms of businesses and small businesses, it's allowing small businesses to thrive. All that to say, to get back to your question, I do think that the influencers that are influencers, not necessarily businesses, I do think that they will be starting, even though they have degrees, some of them.
Not really. Well, that is totally unfair. That was an assumption I made, so I apologize.
Right now, I think more companies are looking for not only a degree, but experience. It has to be both. And I don't know that your experience being an influencer on TikTok qualifies.
Well, it might be able to be pivoted into a marketing position with a quote unquote real company, which is I had this many followers and I had this many brand deals. Like, let me help you with your social media or whatever.
Yeah, but do people want to do that if they're an influencer? Because most influencers are like, look at me, it's all about me.
That's true. My assumption in this unpopular opinion is that these influencers that we're talking about are no longer influencers because it didn't work out, or truly
influencers.
Yeah, or it's not sustainable.
Yeah, we've talked about this before. Sorry, I know I'm kind of all over the place. We've talked about this before, though. This idea that like nobody wants to work. Everybody wants to be an influencer, but not everybody can be an influencer. Like, that's not how that works. There's not, I mean, there are a ton of people in the world for sure, but not everybody can be an influencer. Just like not everybody can be Kim Kardashian. It's just not a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's not sustainable. And I think this kind of dovetails into our next unpopular opinion.
Okay, I'm ready.
I wonder if I can put a button on this one, though. Jumping on what you said, I think we'll find, or most people will find, that it is really hard to be a quote unquote influencer or, sell your courses or whatever, because all of that is already saturated. There's demand for it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, but I don't want to buy any courses from you at how to make my social media better because it's just all crap.
Yeah.
Whatever you put on there, none of it's good. Yeah. No offense.
Yeah. The only accounts that are growing from 0 to 1 million in 30 days are the accounts going, I'm going to tell you how to grow from 0 to 1 million in 30 days. And never tell you. Or they give you tips, and it's just that your content's not good is really what it is. Anyway, that kind of dovetails into my next thing, which is...
What's your word of the day?
I've used it twice.
3 times.
Let me rephrase. It kind of ducktails into my next one. Too many people in the service industry complain when they're asked to do their job.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I brought this up because, one, I think we've experienced it particularly post-COVID, but you...
have experience
in the service industry.
Yeah, I mean, it's just interesting. I mean, anybody that's out there that's gone to a fast food restaurant or any restaurant in general, truly, or any retail shop in the last, I don't know, year or longer,
or more, yeah,
can probably attest to this and say, yeah. But I mean, it's just insane to me. I'm like, if you're gonna, I understand that maybe those are low level jobs or the starter jobs is to obviously work in those things. But I'm like, but if you're going into customer service, the job is in the title.
Yeah.
Like, you're there to serve the customers. That doesn't mean scrolling on your phone or being rude to people when they ask questions or complaining about the fact that you have to take orders or ring in things. I'm like, that's literally the job you signed up for. And if you don't want to do it, go work somewhere else. There's plenty of non-guest facing jobs that you can get that you
That's
don't
true.
require to do that. You can go sort mail. You can go be an Amazon truck driver. You can go work for sanitation. You could waste management. You could do a ton of other things. Look at all the things I'm
That's
naming.
just a few. Yeah, there's so many.
Those are hard and probably require lots of labor, but
Yeah.
it is a weird thing to walk into places and be like, especially someone that worked in the service industry for so long, more than 10 years, because I worked in the service industry
even
prior to that.
Yeah.
I worked in American Eagle, worked at Bath and Body Works. Like, if you're doing customer service, you're there to serve the customer.
Yeah. We've talked about this before, at least you and I. I don't think we've talked about it on the show, but like one of the things we realized, even when you go to like a Disneyland, like there's a bit of the magic that's missing. Yeah.
That's because of COVID.
I think it's partially because of that. I also have this thought though, too, that we're so interconnected right now. Like if you wanted to know the answer to something, you can go online and figure it out. Whether that's, true or not, like the answer is true or not is up for speculation. But I think as we now are so interconnected, more people, especially the younger people, are seeing how the system works and they don't like it because, especially as a younger person who might be doing a customer service job or an entry-level job or whatever it is, they're going, I'm getting paid a non-livable wage in order to make money for the rich people at the top or the shareholders or the board members, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Because I actually now can see on TikTok or YouTube or just searching the internet how this all works. Like if I'm a cashier at Victoria's Secret, I know that whoever, I forget his name right now, who actually owns Victoria's Secret.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he doesn't own it anymore. But
I was going to say Rupert Murdoch, but I don't know if it's him. But like the old white man that's making bazillions off of my labor.
Yeah.
Not to mention selling a terrible image, an image to young women and women everywhere of, an impossible picture of beauty. Like they're seeing through the facade. And I think that's part of the reason why people aren't bought into corporate capitalist America like they used to be. Like, I'll stay with the company forever till I retire at 65 with my gold watch.
Yeah.
Like, people aren't getting into customer service jobs because they're like, you know who I really love? The customer. Like, they're doing because they have to.
For sure.
But they're also seeing through the facade of it. And I think that's a good thing. I think they're seeing the greed of a lot of companies and how the people at the very top are making an insanely large amount of money versus the people at the bottom, oh, you got a lot of things to hold on to. Yeah. Anyway, I do think that people are a little frustrated at times when they're asked to do what their job is. And I think if you know what your job is and you're here to do the job, you should do the job. At the same time, like when you hear people who are like, my cashier at the grocery store was sitting on a stool when they checked out my items.
That doesn't bug me.
Me either. Because does this person, is it required for this person to stand
Some of them they
for
can't
8
stand.
hours to scan your groceries?
And you have to make reasonable accommodations for people. And if they can't stand for 8 hours, then they can sit. Who cares? It's if they're mean to me.
Totally.
That I'm like, all right.
But here's the thing is I think we're out of the time where most people in jobs are like, hi, so good to see you. Thanks for walking into XYZ store. Like, what can I do? And I think that's okay. I think it shouldn't be expected of everyone to have to be like the mascot for a giant corporation. But at the same time, I think if you're getting paid to do a job, you should do it with kindness and in a way that, you know, if a customer's like, I'm here to pay for this service or product, that you would be, you know, not off-putting or pushing them away by being like, oh, how many sauces do you want? Or like, I guess I could look in the back to see if you like that size shoes here, but like, we probably don't have it. Like, that's different to me.
Yeah, I hear that.
I see you holding lots of things.
I was going to let go of the first one, which is to say, in at least California, April 1st, minimum wage goes up to $20 an hour.
For?
Food workers.
Yeah, so that's not minimum wage. That's for at least fast food workers.
Yeah, but that's minimum wage for fast food workers, which is a starter level job. So that's more than, it's a big jump from 16 to 20. I mean, it's $4, but it's a big jump. In the grand scheme of things, you might have to go get like 3 promotions before you would make that normally.
That's true.
I don't know. I'm just saying. So like minimum wage is going up for people. So you're saying about like not making a lot of money for cost of living. I don't really know how that plays into it all, but $20 an hour is a lot more
than 16. But you're telling me this why though?
Because you said people are going to work at these jobs where they're not even making a livable wage. And I'm like, well, they're about to get like a bump in wage to
in
20
California.
Yeah. But
$16 an hour for 40 hours a week is not a livable wage.
But $20 an hour is different.
It's better.
Yeah. I'm just saying, you can do the math. The second thing I was holding on to is that I hear what you're saying. I'm responding to things that you said. Is you said something like, oh, you said that same thing. Like they don't want to do the job because they're realizing that the capitalistic mindset of the people above, they're the ones who are really making all the money.
Yes.
But I go, that's fair for you to do that. But then I expect to see a shift in like the amount of technology that's used within some of these low level customer service jobs. So innately, these people that that are like complaining about the starter level job that they got because they either, whatever, who knows why. Most of these people like just are finding the easiest job because the people that like need these jobs are actually working hard and doing a good job because they understand like this is what I want to do and I can work my way up or whatever. Most of the time it's younger people that are like, I want to be an influencer and I can, like I hate being here and I don't want to be here, that are doing that. They're essentially working themselves out of a position because if they can't fill the position and fill it in a way that is supporting the customer, but if it's actually doing damage to the company and they're like, I want to stick it to the man because I realize they're making all this money. Well, guess what? These jobs are no longer going to exist.
But here's the thing. I agree.
In the same way that McDonald's is like, or at least that's the one place I can see now is that they have like, you can do your digital ordering, your touchscreen. Yeah. So you've now taken jobs away from 2, 3, who knows how many people and replaced it with that. And so it's less jobs for people to have. And so you're trying to quote unquote stick it to the man who's making more money. But the truth is they're making even more money now because you didn't want to do.
Okay. Well, I think the premise is for me a little off here. I don't think that they're putting ordering kiosks in fast food restaurants because people don't want to be a checker. I think they're doing that because it's a one-time payment for a machine.
For sure.
And they don't have to pay people.
Of course.
The same thing that Hollywood was fighting against. Not the same thing, but protections for workers.
I know.
It's not that people don't want to do the jobs, even though I don't think they want to, but it's that it's cheaper and they can make more money not paying for someone. Also, I think it is a part of the capitalistic nightmare, the idea that everybody should want to climb the ladder and grow in their position. Some people just work because I work to make money to live my life.
Totally fair.
Not everybody wants to climb up the corporate ladder.
Totally fair.
Or even work harder. Like they want to put in the amount of effort that gives them the life that they want.
For sure.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it either.
I think it's totally great. But yeah, those were my 2 thoughts on that.
We differ on this topic, and I know that because I worked in the industry for many, many, many years, and you don't have a lot of experience in that. But I was a manager, and so it was my job to kind of make sure people did what they were supposed to do. It is difficult, and I understand the jobs aren't easy. They're hard as someone who's done them. Like I understand that it's hard work to do that. But I also get that like there's other opportunities out there that aren't customer service. And so like if you don't want to do customer service, don't do it. Do something different that doesn't require you to be what we would call guest facing. And I think that's my problem is that most of these people that you're talking about that are mean or rude or don't want to do the job, like they've just gone out and found the easiest job they can.
Or what they're qualified for.
I could not be qualified and I could walk into Target and be like, I don't want to be guest facing. I want to be a stock person and probably get hired to stock shelves.
Maybe.
And I'm not, but I'm just saying like, I wouldn't be guest facing. I wouldn't have to deal with people. I would be doing inventory in the back, Walmart, the grocery store, there are positions that are available that are not required.
Yeah. A lot of those positions are getting taken by robots too, though. Have you seen like an Amazon warehouse?
Yeah, I'm not talking about Amazon warehouse. So I'm talking about like your local Target or your local grocery store.
Well, you know what's interesting?
They're not at Amazon level.
Everyone's going to go this way though, because you told me this was a COVID thing, and I'm sure you're right. But when I saw that video of someone ordering from Chick-fil-A in a drive-through, and it was
FaceTime.
It was FaceTime. It was a Chick-fil-A team member from their home doing that, which is like, to me, if that makes more sense in terms of COVID, but it's scary in the sense of, first of all, oh, you're sick and you can't come in for your shift. That's okay. Get on the iPad and take orders.
Yeah, I don't think that's what it was, but go ahead.
Totally. And 2, that type of stuff, whether it's ordering kiosk or digital or whatever, was something that you confidently would tell me like Chick-fil-A will never do that.
Yeah.
And here's an example of them doing that. I understand in the context of COVID, it's different, but also,
but it's still
everyone's doing that.
It's still a person on the other end that is there. It's not like a robot. It's a person on the other end. Yep. And truly, if I could venture to guess with my experience, it's probably someone that was exposed to somebody who had COVID. And so if you're exposed, you had to be out for a certain amount of time, but you were only paid, like the government only paid for a couple of weeks of that. So you can only ever be out like once and they would update it every 6 months or every year. And so then if you're out because you're exposed, guess what? You're not getting paid now. And so it's probably someone who's like, hey, you're out for exposed. And they're like, can I work from home or can I do anything? And they're like, yeah, we'll put you on FaceTime. You'll take orders.
Probably.
You know what I mean?
It's just such a nightmare.
Yeah,
I think your scenario is not a bad one. I think
COVID was
accurate.
A nightmare.
Yeah, especially for
people that worked in the service industry.
Yeah. So all that to say,
anyways,
I don't think people are happy.
And I can agree with you on that and say, I don't think people are happy doing customer service jobs anymore. It's not fun. People are mean on both sides. And you're right. Like if you can go on TikTok and see all these people being super successful and not really having to work, of course, like why do I care about serving food or you buying clothes from me? Like I want to try to be an influencer. So I'm thinking about ideas and things that I could do while I'm at work because this is just what's getting me by right now. And I totally get that.
Do you think being an influencer is the new version of like when
celebrity?
Well, when we were growing up, it was like, I want to be a movie star.
Yes. But I think unlike movie stars, I think it's a fleeting thing.
Oh yeah.
I think influencers are a big deal. Sure. But like if TikTok goes away, then where do you go?
And not that, and also, it only takes one accusation or legitimate scandal for someone to get totally canceled
100%
from the internet.
100%.
Like you can have one person make an accusation against you, and guess what? All your brand deals are gone.
Yep.
All of your followers are gone. Like it is fickle.
And people are getting smart, and brands are getting smart too. Like they understand that the top influencers cost a ton of money. And so they're probably going to go for what we would call micro influencers to try to get less money or pay less money. So like, I don't know. I think TikTok is a beautiful thing. And I think that it's brought a lot of joy to people. And I think it's allowed people to reach some of their dreams. But I think that it's fleeting. Just like MySpace.
Yeah.
Just like, and hear me when I say I understand that Facebook is around and that Instagram is around and that Twitter is around. I get it. But like none of those things are as relevant right now as TikTok is. And so,
Not even close.
Or Snapchat is another example. Like none of them are as relevant as TikTok. Guess what? Something else is going to come along that'll be more relevant than that. And so how, like I said, this idea with the Vine, it was big and you were big on it until it didn't exist.
Yeah.
Even Instagram, if you could be huge and verified on Instagram, guess what? I can purchase a verification today if I wanted to. Like all of it is made up. None of it, all of it's pretend. And all of it will eventually go away.
Yeah.
And it sucks, but it's just kind of the life we live. And I hope that all those influencers that are really big have good brand deals with people that they can make it if TikTok ends or if people don't want to follow them anymore. But like,
yeah, I think here's what I would say to, not that any influencer is asking me, but as a person who's worked in entertainment for a long time, being an influencer is entertainment, it's education, it's edutainment. You know, I had a problem and here was the solution. If you have this problem, buy the solution.
Yeah.
You're selling and educating in an entertaining and engaging way. I will say I've lived a lot of life in the entertainment space in the sense that I know that what worked yesterday won't work tomorrow.
Yeah.
Very quickly that will be true. So we're always pivoting. We're always looking for the thing that can keep us relevant or getting booked on gigs or whatever it is. Even in my own career, like it was just DJing and then it was DJing and hosting and now it's hosting and less DJing and then it's going to be hosting and speaking and then it just keeps evolving. And I would say that anyone who's super comfy in the influencer space right now, like definitely be looking at what the next possible thing could be.
Yeah.
This is my bend because I do enjoy speaking. If you are an influencer, you need to figure out how to start speaking, how to do keynotes, how to be on stage, because brands and conferences will still want to pay you lots and lots of money, probably far more money than you made doing the deal on TikTok. You'll make on a stage going, hey, I'm here at so-and-so's sales meeting. I want to let you know what Gen Z or millennials are attracted to in terms of how to sell. Like, here was my experience. You actually have a wealth of knowledge that you could give older people like me and like us that we wouldn't know. So always be looking to figure out where to pivot to so you're not left. TikTok disappears and so does your career. The other thing I would say is I don't find such a problem with people wanting to be influencers or aspiring to be that, because that's kind of what makes us human. Is when we're kids, it's like, what do you want to be when you grow up? An astronaut, famous, a movie star, the president. Like, we all have these aspirations.
For sure.
And is being an influencer any more or less ridiculous than wanting to be a professional football player?
No.
In terms of the amount of people who want to do it versus the amount of people who make it, like, the odds are still pretty bad.
Yeah.
But we don't tell people don't play football or whatever it is, fill in the blank with whatever the thing is that you aspire to when you're younger. I would just say, like, I think it's great to have those aspirations and try to work towards those things, but also having a realistic enough mindset to figure out what is, I hate calling it a plan B or a backup plan, but if you want to play professional football, the chances of you making it to the NFL are so small.
That's true.
So you have to have a backup plan of, here's also something I would like to do that would financially provide for my life. Yeah. So I would say the same thing to like people who want to be influencers. Like, if you want to do it, do it.
But have a backup plan.
Yeah. And also work really hard and study and try and do the cringe stuff and all that stuff. But then also figure out, like, what's the main hustle while you're building that side hustle, you know, and then let those things start to move around as you get better and you get more deals or whatever. Like, then maybe the main hustle turns into the side and your side hustle influencing thing turns into the main for a little bit. But know that life comes in seasons and it ebbs and flows and all that stuff.
True.
Thanks for coming to my sermon on being an influencer in careers.
It's great. I think we did it.
I think we did it too. Did I lose you at the end? Did I put you to sleep?
No, I followed along. I was like, is this a hardly working or hardly working through it?
Yeah, you know, the unpopular opinions this week were a little bit more working through it than it was working.
That's okay. You still love us.
Let's hope so.
We know it.
Well, let's get past. We'll save some of the other ones too. We mentioned it earlier. We got a lot of stuff coming up this week.
Yeah, we're going to Utah next week. And then, like I said,
well, you've got a gig tomorrow.
I got a gig tomorrow. And then we have a family day on Sunday. Then he goes to we go to Utah on Tuesday.
I go to LA and then I go to Puerto Rico.
And I go straight to Tennessee to visit Andy and Hannah and Miss Amanda and Travis.
which Miss Mandy and Travis.
Miss Mandy and Mr. Travis.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot. So I'm doing a conference in Salt Lake City for a company called Costa Vida. I think this is our third conference that I've done with them. Third or fourth, something like that. So that's going to be fun to see them and our DB team out there. And then I'm not sure exactly what the gig in Puerto Rico is that I'm doing, but it is a lot of people.
We'll tell you later.
Yeah, we'll tell you more about it. And then hopefully you'll have some good times out in Nashville. Maybe you'll go to the Tennessee. Maybe we'll go to Nashville, the Moonshine place.
Oh, 100%. It's already on the itinerary that they put together for me.
And so help me, if there's no Eggo brunch in a jar at this distillery.
If there is, I'll record it.
Yeah, we found it. If y'all didn't see it on our Instagram, we found a jar of Eggo brunch in a jar, and Appalachian sip and cream.
Yeah.
I was like, is it worth the bit? Because it is a huge jar that I know we're not going to finish. But you know what? I was with John Homer lately. John Homer, friend of mine, fan of the show, that sent in him drinking the sipping cream.
That's true.
He gave me a legit review that I was like, that sounds pretty good. He described it as a White Russian, which I've never had.
Yeah, okay.
But he's like, it's creamy. It's got some, like, I think he may have said cinnamon in there. And he's like, it was good, but boy, did it look thick. It didn't seem as thick in the jar when we had it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe we'll get it. I was hoping they'd have it in those little samplers that we did the taste test with before.
But they didn't.
We'll keep you updated. Maybe we'll just have to throw a party. A brunch, Eggo brunch party.
A sip and cream party. We'll see.
Anyway, I think that's it here.
Yeah.
We've got Hardly Working Through It coming up in just a few days. Last week, we talked about the best and worst dating advice or relationship advice that we've heard and gotten. This week, we're talking about the best and worst dating and relationship advice that you guys have gotten and sent in to us. So this week, it's all about you. And we'll be critiquing and telling you if it's really good or bad because what we say is the truth.
True.
We don't know what we're talking about either. But it's fun. That was part 1 last week, and this will be part 1 this week. We got so much stuff to talk about, so we'll split it up into different episodes. But until then, I hope you have a wonderful week.
Yeah. We love you.
And I love you.
And we hope you spend most of your week hardly working.
We'll see you at Hardly Working. Bye.